Welcome back to Project Community: Opportunity, Challenges, and Accomplishments. We continue our virtual town hall discussion with a look at some of Omaha's success stories. The open channels of discussion forged by Omaha 360, the opportunities built by the Empowerment Network, and the men and women volunteering their time every day to build relationships and to build trust. It starts with an invitation.
You can come every week if you want.
To be part of something bigger than yourself. It's Wednesday night in North Omaha, and there's encouragement on the courts.
Get in there, man. You want a ball?
Motivating words from a guy who's seen decades of change.
I've been in law enforcement about 27 years, and when I first came on, community policing was going to a neighborhood organization. Maybe you're in the back of the room, answer a couple questions here and there.
Deputy Chief Ken Kanger says community policing today is more about face-to-face connections.
Develop a relationship, which we talk about in our mission statement. Develop trust. It's more than just showing up in a meeting.
And it happens in seemingly unlikely places.
Understanding that enforcement isn't the answer. Intervention and prevention is the answer. This is part of it.
In one instance, prevention that started more than 15 years ago, with Kanger's now assistant coach on the Nets basketball program.
17 years ago, I worked in the gang unit. After that, I worked in the homicide unit. My assistant coach I ran into all the time. He was on a different side. He was involved in gang activity. I investigated the homicide of his brother. And now he's here every week with me. He's coaching. He's making sure his kids have a different path, and that's coming a long ways.
Creating a different path by building relationships.
Oh my God!
Omaha's newest gang prevention specialist, Galat Talong, takes note.
It's huge, even us as adults. All we got to do is, continue to build relationship with people, because at the end of the day, it's about who you know, really, if you want something done.
Kanger saw his networking in action recently at the height of the demonstrations in Omaha.
In the middle of the unrest at 13th and Howard, an 11-year-old girl in the crowd came up and said, "Hey, you coach at Pace." And it was pretty powerful to say, "I know you from coaching, not just from wearing the uniform."
Their lessons borrowed from the basketball court. Assists, score points. And teamwork, it matters.
Nobody's ever going to do anything by themselves. It takes, like I said, the old saying is, it takes ability to really do something.
It's community partners, community organizations, Omaha 360, the Empowerment Network. Consistency. Meeting every week and talking about whatever it is. Tough conversations sometimes, and at the end of the day, solutions.
And from this veteran cop, a challenge for everyone in Omaha.
You got to lead by example.
And start all over again the next day.
Are we ready?
We return now to our panel. We asked Director of Omaha 360, Ricky Smith, to explain what the organization is all about.
So it is an intentional effort to bring together the police department in our community, and then those who have resources who can serve those wraparound services that are needed in our community, to have an open dialogue and discussion, to constantly be aware of the trends that are going on, also to get our neighborhoods involved in what's going on and how we can be great citizens and advocates for the people who may be voiceless sometimes. And so it's not let's all get together and holler at the police department, but how can we work together and improve the relationships that we are trying to build.
And Willie Barney, what kind of buy-in would you say there is in the community? Are there lots of groups jumping in to help right now?
Yeah, we started, Julie, with 3 people at the table. Over the last 13 years, that small group of 3 people has grown to over 500 organizations. That includes neighborhood organizations, community-based groups, pastors and faith leaders, the educational system, juvenile justice, and of course, the police department. So there's always more room to expand. And even hearing from Marcy that and people asking questions about 360 and when does it meet, what are the opportunities to get engaged, there's almost always more room that we can do to communicate and make sure people know that it's out there and how to get engaged. But the buy-in has been incredible. From Harmony Week, where Councilman Gray mentioned, we have thousands and thousands of people that are out actively involved. The nights out, where there's thousands of people that we participate and support neighborhoods working together. So it really has been an unprecedented level of community engagement, and people stepping up and saying, I will join my neighborhood association. I'm getting active with my church. I'm going to host a positive event. I'm going to hire a young person in the community. I want to contribute to that. So all of those different aspects come together to make 360 what it is.
Pete Festerson, would you say that the company you work for, CHI, they're more diverse and inclusive because of your involvement in 360?
Yeah, absolutely. A number of corporate entities are involved in the Empowerment Network conversations and in 360, and in making very formal and very public commitments about what they're doing in terms of diversity and inclusion and violence prevention and diversifying their workforce. I happen to work for one of Omaha's largest employers, CHI Health, we literally have social justice as part of our mission as an employer. And so that takes the form of all those issues, but also intently working with the community on healthcare disparities, on violence prevention, behavioral health. Social determinants of health are so important to this conversation around housing and nutrition and basic needs, and all those things, and investing in those things monetarily with the power of our major employers can really help us make a difference in this area. And I think more and more they're realizing that for Omaha to be successful and to grow, we have to become more welcoming and more diverse. That's just the demographics of the situation. Over 70% of OPS is non-white right now. And they estimate by 2040, the city of Omaha will be a majority non-white. That's a big mentality change for our city, but one that we have to embrace and one that we have to work together on to be successful.
I think it's important for us to recognize that voting and those other civic engagement, that we don't just have, not everyone who should have a voice is able to vote. So we need to remember that protest is a way to be involved, that's our way of calling for change. So looking at those different solutions of engagement, writing letters, you can write to your public officials whether or not you're of age to vote. Your voice matters, and it's important that we recognize that in all shapes and forms.
I want to talk about relationships built through PACE and Tony Espejo. I mean, you started in 2005 with 60 kids. You're up to how many? 6,000 children a year?
2019, we were at 6,000. I mean, my goal for 2020 was 8,000, and of course COVID hit. We have approximately 84 soccer teams, but we would have had about 130 soccer teams.
Let me ask you, how would you say you're changing the trajectory of lives?
Well, again, it comes back to instilling those values that you can learn through athletics. Athletics is just kind of the hook, right? It's just kind of the hook to get the kids involved, and the reason why we pick athletics is because it's the big word we like around here is consistency, right? If you're consistently, striving to do good things, you're going to eventually reach that goal. And for a lot of these kids, they don't, things like being brave, courage, perseverance. Where are these kids going to learn that? There's always there's usually two ways to learn that, either a good way or a bad way. And for us, I mean, that's what we want to do. And we certainly, the most important thing is to break down the barriers between police officers and the kids that, they are serving in their neighborhoods.
I want to ask Marcy Yates about connecting with people during this time. And you've seen people rally for change. Do you feel like disruption is necessary? Disrupting meetings, being, disruptive at a rally. Is that part of getting attention? Is that part of sharing a message?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if you're interrupting people who aren't listening to you, then yeah. And it depends on what you're saying. Do I think it's always? No, not always. It just depends. That's how I feel about it, because again, you got to make people uncomfortable to listen, and you do have to cause disruption, or people won't listen. They won't be uncomfortable, because for far too long, people get comfortable.
You got to do it in the spirit of John Lewis. Find some good trouble. That's my new motto. The spirit of John Lewis. Find good trouble.
It's a way to do it, but when you start hearing the disrespect and the different, the language and stuff, I feel like you lose the message. You lose the message once you get hostile. You lose it once you start calling people names. People forget about that. They forget about the message that you're sending. And I've noticed that it's a way to deliver a message, but when you start doing all the foul language and attacking just certain people, I mean, your message just completely gets drowned out by the extra that you added to it.
When our conversation continues, symbols, messages, and their indelible impact.